Rocco was on today, and it felt like trust was a big factor. I think of the third and 12 play to so well in single coverage, a lot of other guys stepping up. Just how good and efficient was your offense, but particularly the passing game today after some.
Yeah, I like I said, I think so much of it has gone to either, some injuries that have forced us to be inconsistent or, just time and, so many new faces in some of that passing game. And, it was awesome. I think that word is right. It was consistent. It was confident. I don't feel like Rocco's very much wavered from some of that process. I just think it's like, man, the rhythm of what it needs to look like with consistency. I think back to the TCU play on, Chase drops it and Rocco goes right back to him. And I think that's where real trust is evolved. And, it's just, man, our game is one that it's constantly evolving and growing, and to play our best football in late November against all the odds, against all the stuff that's hit this team, I think it just says a lot about the character of this team, whether it's Rocco or whether it's, man, our great senior leadership. I've just been really impressed.
And then third downs, I think you hit on 7 of your first 11 and 3 of your first 3 fourth downs in line with the same efficiency. Seemed like the right plays were getting called and guys were executing in those moments.
Yeah, I think that's probably a little bit of a trend of our success. If you look over the course of the season is, man, when we played really well in situational football, we've been at our best. And obviously I thought again today, we played in that rhythm. And so, it was great to see not only execution, but to see us be able to be in kind of manageable third down situations. And even in some of the non-manageable situations, we were able to make some great plays. I think Chase's play is a third and long situation that obviously kind of springboards things open. So great to see, great to play in the rhythm that we want to play in really across the board. And just excited for our kids and the opportunity to keep finishing forward right now.
How much did the start that you guys got on the ground, that first possession, maybe help Rocco even settle in, and then seem like it was 7 for 7, 8 for 8, 9 for 9, and it kind of snowballed there in a good way?
Yeah, I think the reality is we've run the ball the last 6 weeks maybe as good as we have in 10 years here. So, I don't know if that settled him in as much as, like I said, I just think of, man, I thought our guys continue to go to work. I think we're growing, and I think the reality of it is I thought our guys made some great plays. And honestly, I just think Rocco, again, his health, getting healthier, man, I just think all those things really started to come to fruition. So it was awesome to see.
And then with Daniels and kind of what he can do to the back end of a defense, you've got how many new starters at safety this week on the back end? How did that group play, do you think, against Daniels?
Sure. And I said this to Jalen after the game. I mean, what a respect factor that I have for competing against him here over the last, what seems like, man, forever. And, the reality of it is he's a real problem. He's got the ability to, extend plays with his feet. He's dynamic in the quarterback run game and the option game. And then, you saw a couple times today, man, he's got a big live arm that can make all the throws. And so, then you flip to the young pups that are playing on defense. Like, man, I think it's been a mantra of this program. It doesn't matter what position group, next man is up. And you got to keep playing. And we really work hard here as coaches to develop all of our players, not just our top players, but all of our football players. And, hats off to Coach Broomfield and obviously Coach Poe. I mean, I think they've done an unbelievable job preparing our guys to get ready. I thought Coach Haycock did a great job again today. And, I think it's also, man, Marcus Neal's kind of been the centerpiece the whole time. And it's great to have his communication and leadership there. And, to have the 3 linebackers that have played a lot of football and their ability to communicate and help those young guys out. And then, obviously Drew Surges, 2 weeks in a row, I just think he's been magnificent. And, it's college football. I've always said it. It's about your opportunity. And when you get it, are you going to be ready and take advantage of it? And he certainly has. And Carson Van Dinter did the same thing again today. So, all real positive things from our end of it. And we'll have to keep growing because it won't get any easier. But really proud of those guys.
So similar to what you just said about the young defense so far, just how special is it to see so many people go into this position to step up when they're needed?
Yeah, I think that's huge. Our sport is really special because, there's not 5 guys playing and one guy's a superstar. And it's not individual sport. This is team. It's the ultimate team sport, and everybody has to do their job. And I think that is it's hard to understand that, and it's hard at 18 to 22 years old to understand that. But I think it's one of the things I really love about our kids is they understand that value. And, no matter who steps in, you don't have to be a superhero. We just need to have a superhero team. We just need you to do your job and do what's being coached of you. And to be able to see so many guys really over the last 2 years, I mean, just step in and play great football. I mean, Cooper Alexander on offense today, I mean, what a great play. Just so many guys. It's really rewarding, and I think it says a lot about our coaching staff, and I think it says a lot about the development in our football program, and again, the leadership that we've had from this senior class, because I think sometimes you get some of those injuries, that can wear on you. And our seniors, they just led from the front, and they've never complained. They never pointed the fingers. And quite honestly, they're going to have a chance right now to compete here the next 8 quarters to do, I think, what 4 teams in the history of this school have ever been able to do. So I don't know if a lot of people were thinking about that, but we are.
The fourth down decisions, were they independent of each other, or was that a mindset coming in today to try to be aggressive offensively?
Boy, I don't even remember right now. So, that'd be a great Tuesday question. Now, I will say, I think all those situations, the wind a couple times when we were going into the wind, I just didn't feel like, man, I didn't want to put our, kicking team, not that I don't trust Kyle, I just didn't want to put him in a really tough situation. It was swirling. It wasn't as if you were just going into the wind. And then, a couple times, I think, when you're 4th and 1, 4th and 2, geez, you got to believe in your guys. And, I think it was awesome to see. We made some great plays, but really that was our thought process. And I will answer that again on Tuesday, if it's pertinent from your end of it. But I think from those standpoint, wasn't like, man, we're going to go for it all the time on 4th down. It was, I think a lot of it was the flow of the game.
Taylor was in here on Tuesday saying that he wanted to simplify things offensively. How much of that was part of today's success? I
think it was huge. We really spent a lot of time going back and saying, what are we doing well? And, I think you can look at stats sometimes and say, what are you not doing well? But when you actually look at the videotape and say, okay, we're doing a lot of things really good. What should we be doing more of? And how do we continue to take what we're doing well? Man, you got enough 10 games value system, and let's simplify things and kind of get ourselves back to, man, being our best. And I do think that helped us. Again, Mouse does an unbelievable job, and that staff does a great job. And again, I think it's where I use this word all the time, being curious enough to say, okay, what's not going well? And what are the things going well, and how do we do a little bit more of what's going well and kind of try to help the situations that maybe aren't going well. So I thought we did a great job there. And, again, that is where the run game can help you and all those other things. But I thought we were able to simplify for sure.
How much heart does Carson Hansen continue to play with?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's having a really special year. I mean, one of the toughest young men in our program, how he runs the football late in games, how he came back into the game today to run the football. Every run I feel like he has is a major car wreck at the end, right? Like it's just, he's got that physical ability to fall forward every time he runs the football. And when that happens, that's usually not just a simple tackle by the shoestrings. It's violent. And I think he plays with, that violence and that consistency all the time. That's hard to do, especially at tailback. But, we're really proud of him. I mean, I thought of Boo too. I mean, the run he has on 3rd down, I don't know if there's much there, but man, he puts his foot in the ground. He gets vertical through somebody and gets us the 1st down in a really critical moment. Those 2 backs, man, they're really special. And they're playing at a really high rate right now. So we're really proud of them.
You talked a little bit about Kyle and his ability. He hits from 50+ again, even with the conditions. But what does that kind of say about him this season, his resilience, even with obviously the wind and whatnot today?
Well, we missed him for a while, so it was nice to have him back. Kyle's exceptional. I mean, he is an elite talent. I don't know. Maybe there are some people statistically that may be, better than him, but I don't know if there's a better kicker in the country than what Kyle is. I mean, his ability, he's making routine 50-yard plus field goals at an elite rate. And so, and again, Tyler Perkins has got to hold it, and we got to snap and we got to protect it. So I don't want to discredit that group, but man, for Kyle to be as steady as he is huge. And he's an A player for us. He's a difference maker for us. And I'm just really proud of him for sure.
Going off your earlier point with simplifying for passing concepts, just what are your
I
thoughts
don't think we simplified passing concepts.
Simplifying things for the passing
Yeah.
Were you pleased with the results in the red zone, and did you feel like that helped translate over there too?
Yeah, and again, we'll have to go back and look at some of those things. I thought we ran the ball well. Obviously, you had the dump pass to Ben for a touchdown, and but I just think globally, man, Rocco had the nice little rollout to Brett, in a critical situation. I just felt like from our end of it, we played in great rhythm today, and let's not make a mistake. We've played in really good rhythm early in the season when we were healthy and clicking on all cylinders. And so, I think we had to work through the mud a little bit of some health and where we were to kind of, I think you see us coming out of it again. So, I don't think it's play calling or this or that. I just think it's, man, the ebbs and flow of the season a little bit. And, I've said this a million times. Our quarterback is one of the best quarterbacks, and he is tough. He is gritty. And if you look at every game that we played, that guy's given us a great chance to win the football game. And so, I just think, how do we continue to serve him the right way and build the people up around him? And I thought those guys really grew today. So that was awesome.
Matt, I wanted to ask about Will Slagle, top recruit in the class of 27, staying home, committed to Iowa State today before the game at a tailgate, out of all places. How excited are you to add a guy like Will here in the coming years?
Yeah. No, I don't want to get you in trouble or me in trouble,
Okay.
because I'm not allowed to comment
on
recruiting in general, other than, let me just say this. It is great for us right now in terms of, man, the recruiting journey to continue to work really hard, especially in the state of Iowa or globally in our 6-hour radius, to continue to recruit the right young men.
Coach, kind of another recruiting question. There's so many teams in college football that probably wouldn't be able to bounce back from a 4-game losing streak. What is it about the players that you recruit, and how do you find them to be able to bounce back as they have?
Yeah. I think for us, and we've said this in the recruiting process, and it's 2 years in a row where we've had to deal with just a lot of stuff. And I think one of the things for us, it's like, man, OKG, our kind of guys. We had a great group up here today, this morning, and before the game. And we've always talked about build a team that you can lose with before you can win with. And bad things are going to happen. You're going to go through hard, especially at this place, especially here. And the reality of it is, can you fight through it? And, I think that's been the really cool thing about the story. I think the part of the story is you miss the story if you haven't seen the resolve, the character, and the toughness that our kids have always had the ability to respond when their back's been against the wall. And, I think one of the really neat things for us is trying to find the right humans, the right families, the right people that have that kind of resolve and toughness and character, and understand it is about the team. And there'll be good days, there'll be tough days, but if we just keep growing, we'll eventually get us our work deserves. And like I said, right now we've got 8 quarters guaranteed left to us with this season, and we got a chance to make some powerful statements about who we are. I think the senior class set a record today in a 2-year period, the best 2-year win mark in the history of this school. And again, I think it says a lot about what's happened here and what's going on. And we've got to go up the tough side of the mountain, but I think our kids know that, and we don't flinch from that in the recruiting journey and the recruiting process. So I appreciate it.
You talked there briefly about setting a wins record over the last 2-3 years. You've talked about what's still in front of this team and being able to capitalize on it with the game at Oklahoma State and then a bowl game. How much do you think that says about the process that you guys go from 5-0 to 0-4 to now winning 2 in a row and an opportunity to end the year strong with 2 more wins and potentially 9 wins again this year?
Yeah, I think the process for us in terms of, to me, there's 3 processes, right? There's build the man process, which that's our job. There's build the team process, which happens every year in college football starting in January. And then, obviously there's build the journey process. And the build the journey process happens when you kick that ball off. I think today, what's November 22nd, right? We've been at it, practicing live football with few days off since July 22nd. 4 months, which nobody else has had to do, but we have. And the reality of that has been, man, can you just stay the course, not look at the scoreboard, not worry about the results, and know at the end of the season, we'll evaluate, did we do what we had the capability to do, what came out of it? Because every day, man, like the world you guys live in, holy cow, like, you know, it's tough because it's up, it's down, it's this, like it's a season, it's 12 guaranteed games, and then you hope that you get more of it, and then you hope you get the opportunity to tell a great story at the end of the season. And so, you know, I don't think we've ever wavered from that, and I don't think we can waver from that, because I think that's the journey that we're on. And you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-old kids, and even though they're getting paid and all this, they're kids, and our job is to mentor, guide them, and then help them grow to become the best version of them that they possibly can be. So I hope that answers that, but I think it's a great question, and I think it's fair.